Once upon a time in the central part of Africa, known as the Mountains of the Moon, there lived a man who did not know the true God. He had several idol gods, and he had 4 wives. And according to the culture and standards of the day, he should have been very happy. But he wasn't happy. You know why he wasn't happy? Because wife number 1, his favorite wife, became a Christian. And all she could talk about was her big, strong, living God. Oh, husband, she would say, why don't you worship my God? My God is a living God. I talk to him, he talks to me. He lives up in heaven, he lives on earth, and he lives in my heart too. Oh, keep quiet about your God. My gods are plenty good enough for me, he would say. Well, one day, her baby became sick, and he laughed. Ha, ha, ha! If your God is so good, so big, so kind, why don't you ask your God to make your baby well? She said, I will. And she did. And her baby got better. There you are, husband, she said. I told you I had a good God. I told you I could talk to him. He could talk to me. He lives up in heaven. He lives on earth. And he lives in my heart, too. Oh, keep quiet about your God. I don't want to hear any more about your God. Well, another day they ran out of corn. And again, the husband laughed. Ha, 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 ha. If your God is so big, so good, and so kind, why don't you ask him for corn? Get some more corn. And she said, I will. And she did. And though we don't know how God impressed her to do it, in some way or another, she was able to bring a basket of corn. There you are, husband. I told you I serve a good God. I told you I can talk to him. He can talk to me. My God lives up in heaven. He lives on earth. He lives in my heart, too. Oh, keep quiet about your God. I don't want to hear any more about your God. I'm tired of all your talk. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go away and visit a friend who lives a day's journey away. I'm going to spend 2 weeks with him to get away from all this talk about your God. I'm going to have a rest. And he did. But before he started off, he had a room, and he locked the door to his room, and he gave his wife, the number 1 wife, the key. And he said to her, put this key in a safe place. Don't let anyone go into my room, not even my other wives. Look, husband, I will put this key on this peg on the wall, behind this piece of leather, and it will be there when you get back, and no one will go into your room. So the man started off down the road. His wife went to her work in the garden. Now, it hadn't gone very far when he began to laugh. Ha, 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 I believe I will. I'll play a trick on my wife and her God. I'll go back and get that key and take it with me. When she sees the key is gone, she will look and look and look, and she will pray and pray and pray. But her God will never get that key out of my pocket and give it back to her. He can't. He can't. He can't. Well, he did just that. He went back and got the key, put it in his pocket, went off laughing. My wife will find the key is gone, and she will look and look and look, and then she will pray and pray and pray. But her God can't get that key out of my pocket and give it back to her. He can't. He can't. He can't. On his journey, he came to a river, and he took a little drink. He sat down to have a little rest. And as he rested, he thought, it'd be a terrible thing if I lost that key, wouldn't it? That'd be bad. I think I know what I'll do. I'll take this key and I'll wrap it into a leaf, and I'll bury it right by this tree here, by the river. And then when I come back, I'll dig it up again. I won't have to worry about losing it. Then what will my wife say about her big living God who lives up in heaven, lives on this earth? And so he did that. He wrapped the key in a leaf. He buried that key by the tree, by the river, and he went on his way laughing. Ah, ha, ha, Well, the 2 weeks went by. He got his rest. And the husband started back home. He came to the river, took a little drink. He was just thirsty. And he crossed the river, waded across the river. And then he came to that tree where the key was. And he dug in there. And it wasn't there. While he had been visiting with his friends, there had been a storm. The rain had come down hard, and the rain had washed away the sand and washed the key into the river. He felt around again, but there was not there. And now there's nothing more for him to do to go back to his wife, tell her what he had done. So he went home. He was kind of grumpy. He comes into the house and shouts at her, "I'm home. Where's my key?" And the husband, and she said very sweetly, "Dear husband, you saw me put that key on that peg behind the leather on the wall. And I told you that it would be there when you got home." And she lifted up the leather, pointed, and said, "Well, there it is." And the key was there. Well, how did you do that? Oh, wife, I might as well tell you. He said, "I tried to play a trick on you and your God. I came back and got that key, put it in my pocket, buried it by the big tree by the river, intending to dig it up when I came back home. But it rained, and it rained so hard it washed the key away. How did you get it?" "Well," said the wife, "the day that you went away, I came back and found that the key was gone. So I looked, and I looked, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed. I prayed every day. And yesterday, God gave me the key back." How did you do that?" "Well, I knew you were coming home today, so yesterday I went to the market and bought the biggest fish the man had so I could cook you a delicious dinner. While I was cleaning it, I felt something hard in its stomach. I cut it open. There it was." "Oh, husband, haven't I told you I have a good God? Haven't I told you I can talk to him? He can talk to me. He lives up in heaven. He lives on earth. And he lives in my heart, too. And, dear husband, he wants to live in your heart, too. Won't you let him?" The husband paused for a long time and then said, "Wife, you do have a good God. You can talk to him, and he talks to you. He does live up in heaven, and he lives on this earth, and he lives in your heart. And I will let him live in my heart too. And tonight, when you pray to your God, I will pray to him too." And he did. So remember, boys and girls, we serve a loving God. You can talk to him, and he'll talk to you. He lives up in heaven. He lives on this earth. And he'll live in your hearts too, if you let him.